All right, so I want to talk about the Apple Vision Pro. Finally, I know it was announced at WWDC earlier in June, but I finally want to talk about it. I've heard what a lot of other people have been saying. I've seen a lot of videos on it, and I just want to talk about my thoughts. This isn't going to be every single feature, but it's going to be some things that caught my eye, some hot takes I have, like how I think this is a placeholder for Apple. These are just my thoughts. These are my opinions, and I want to share them with you guys and see what you guys think. This is a new type of video I'm doing. This is very unscripted. So I'm going to cover this thing, not so much what it features and what it entails, but how I see it fitting into someone's overall kind of life and how this product really revolutionizes technology and the advances in AR and VR. So first off, this is a first generation product, and with Apple and first generation products, we've seen it with the Apple Watch, we've seen it with the iPhone, the iPad. The first generation of a lot of Apple's products are testers. It's feeling out the waters, it's seeing what works, what doesn't work. If we go backwards a little bit and we look at the iPhone and the first iPhone was nothing extremely special. Smartphones were already a thing. It's not until the iPhone 3G and 3GS came out with the App Store that we noticed how powerful the iPhone could be, revolutionizing the way we use a smartphone. I mean, the Apple Watch, the same thing. The Apple Watch came out and it was just an accessory to the iPhone. And then when we started to go further, we started to see how this wasn't just an accessory to the iPhone, but also a tool that measured our health metrics, and they really honed in on that. I think this is a placeholder for Apple as they figure out the technology for what the future actually holds. And this is just checking off a box for the consumer and ultimately Apple until they get what they really want out onto the market. So I'm going to get into some categories of what I'm going to talk about in this video. And the first is going to be the ultimate product. And this is some of the features that caught my eye and how they would work in someone's everyday life. The first being the immersive entertainment. The fact that you can throw this thing onto your face and you can have a 60-inch TV screen in front of you is pretty cool. It's cool for watching content. It's cool for YouTube, entertainment, Netflix. It's even cool for using screen pages in working and stuff. It's interesting. I find it most useful being able to do that on a plane. And when we talk about the immersive entertainment and the fact that you can have multiple screens at multiple sizes and multiple places, all within kind of your reality, it makes me think, are you able to do this moving away from a laptop? And yeah, you probably can, but how realistic is it? Am I gonna be able to edit a video and have multiple screens up? And is it gonna be comfortable? Is it gonna feel natural? And that's ultimately a question I have with this device, is how natural does this feel? And is it just another piece of tech? Or is it something that is going to replace something we already use? The next is 3D photos and videos. We saw an example of this in the keynote of how the cameras on the outside can literally capture a 3D video of what's going on. And I think the example was some kid's birthday and dad's there with the headset on and capturing the environment. Don't get me wrong, it is cool. That is weird ultimately because the fact that you're going to be at your birthday party, you're going to look over at dad over there and he's going to have this headset on capturing a moment. The technology is cool, don't get me wrong. And this is a tech channel. If we're going to talk about technology of it is amazing. But from a human aspect, it's weird as hell. So the eyesight to display the user's eyes. We're going into the weird things. There's these cameras inside that capture your eyes and then display them on the outside. You've probably seen in a lot of photos, a lot of images, a lot of video, you're able to see the eyes, and it's this idea that you're looking through and you can see through the device. So you don't have kind of what like the other VR headsets have where it's just blocked out and you have nothing. You can kind of see through it. So it's kind of like the AirPods. I compare it to kind of transparency mode where you're still hearing your surroundings, but you're kind of within your own area. And it's kind of like that, except it's cameras pointing at your eyes. So it's not really a see-through, it's cameras pointing and displaying your eyes out through a video. Another very weird thing. I see what Apple was trying to do, and I'm gonna get into it a little bit later of what they're trying to do with the AR VR kind of take I have on this. The next is dual chip processing. We have an M2 in this and an R1 chip. It has the M2 chip, which is basically the computing of this thing, and like the new MacBooks are all M2 chips, so you have a powerful chip in this, and that's a lot of reasons why this thing is so high on price. You have the equivalent of a chip that is in the MacBook. And then there's also the R1 chip, and the R1 chip is the new reality chip Apple has that is just going to progress over the years, but that deals with a lot of the virtual reality and kind of the spatial space you're in. So this has more than a 4K display in both of your eyes, and that's just another reason why this thing is so high on price. You have literally over 4K and 2 TVs within each eye, and that is truly a lot of pixels and a lot of resolution you're playing with. And that's really why this thing is priced so high. And if you know Apple, they're gonna give you the highest they possibly can. Hence the M2 chip, hence 4K videos. And then finally, the external battery with 2 hours of battery life. This is another reason when I talk about the comparison of AR and VR and why this is kind of a placeholder for Apple is this battery pack. It just doesn't seem very Apple-like to throw a battery pack on this type of device. When I heard the price tag on this, I was like, that is expensive. But I wasn't surprised when I saw it because it's ultimately, you're paying for what you're getting. You're paying for the best software and hardware that VR has to offer out there, personally, in my opinion, from what I've seen. So AR versus VR, this is where I think my hottest take comes into place, but I think this is a placeholder. I think VR is not the future. I think AR is the future. And I think what Apple is trying to do here is check off a box saying they are making a headset and sticking all of these extra things in there to make it as AR as possible. We have the camera showing your eyes, which is the idea of like a pair of glasses that you're seeing through and you're actually seeing your actual world. We have the fact that there's all of these cameras basically rebuilding the world within a camera view. And I think what Apple is doing is they are releasing a VR headset and trying to make it AR, which is ultimately costing them more money. So when this thing comes out, I think it will trick a lot of people thinking that they are in AR. And what they did basically puts you in AR, but when you dial back and kind of peel the onion a little bit, you realize that it's not actually AR and it's really just VR made to look like AR. And then finally, who is this for? And they said it in the keynote, and with the price tag this has and the amount of production they're doing and the amount that are coming out, this is for a very select few. So this is like my comparison of what Tesla did. They came out with the Roadster, and the Roadster was ultimately that very high-end, very expensive car that only few people would order, and the orders for that would help them create the Model S, the Model X, the Model 3, and the Model Y, and ultimately make a range of products that the highest of high-end could buy, the middle end can buy, and then the lowest of low end can buy. And I think Apple is doing that. I mean, Apple will come out with the first Vision Pro, not like how Tesla's not come out with the Roadster yet, but they'll come out with the first Vision Pro, and I think the building on that, the seeing and hearing from the expertise of the people that want this, because the people that get this are not just going to be your average consumer that want to pick it up just because they were in the Apple store and they saw it. Like, they're going to get it. They have a reason on why they want to use it. And I think Apple's going to learn from that. And in that time, AR will become more of a thing that is kind of doable in this day and age. And I think the price and the tech that is put into it will be a lot less for that next version, but still do relatively a good amount of the same things. But my final thoughts. Am I excited for this device to come out? I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be so cool when this thing comes out in 2024. I'm definitely gonna try to get my hands on one to play with or get into the Apple store and try it out. Will I be buying this? Absolutely not. I'm not spending $3,500 on this device, especially the first generation of a device like this. Now, when we come around to the second generation at maybe half the price, then we'll talk and maybe I'll buy it. And I don't wanna buy it strictly for entertainment. I wanna see how this thing can work in my everyday life with like productivity tasks or even like video editing. If I can sit here with this thing on and completely edit a video in DaVinci Resolve and have multiple screens up, I don't see why I would not try that out and remove monitors and all those things. But that's yet to see if the technology and the hardware can handle that. So there is a lot of questions I have, and there's a lot we'll be learning as time gets closer to the release date of this, but that's just my personal overall thoughts. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything you agree with or disagree with. I want to hear your thoughts on kind of my AR versus VR and how this is really a placeholder for Apple. And if you enjoy that, let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 10K subs by the end of the year, and with your guys' help, we can get there. And I'll see you guys in the next one.